The photograph is my grandson Joshua. He's about 5 years old in this photograph, and I wanted to show you the various stages I go through to make a nice watercolour sketch. I've made a sketch from my photograph, and all I've got to do now is transfer it onto my watercolour paper. I do this by resizing my sketch to the size of the frame I want to use. In this case, an 8-inch square frame, so my painting size is 6 inches square. This is all done within my photo editing software. This is my A3 light box, and I really love this light box. It's very inexpensive, bought it on Amazon for under £30, and I transfer all my images onto my art paper using the following methods. I've laid my sketch on my light box, and here I've switched on the light source. I've placed my watercolour paper over my sketch, and I'll trace out the sketch onto my watercolour paper, and then once that's done I always stretch my paper, so I put the paper in a bath of water for about 10 minutes and then I'll staple it to my board. When it's dry it'll be as tight as a drum and ready for painting. Well, this is the first stage of the painting, and the first thing I do is to put some highlights into the hair, and I preserve these by using masking fluid, and that's the pink, it's a pink masking fluid. And then I wet the area of the face and the neck, and it's all done wet into wet. I've prepared 3 washes. It's raw sienna and raw sienna with a little bit of alizarin crimson, and there's raw sienna plus alizarin crimson and with a touch of ultramarine blue. Right, you can see where I've put the raw sienna and dropped in some raw sienna and alizarin crimson, and this is the darker one with the ultramarine blue added on it. It's all done wet into wet. Then the balloon is ultramarine blue, and you can see where I've added water here just to do a graded wash, and on the underside of the balloon there's a reflection of the skin colour in the underside of the balloon, and I wanted to preserve that. I've just started to add some colour to the hair, and it's a light colour to start with, and it's Naples yellow. I've re-wetted the face, and I put some stronger tones in based on raw sienna, a little bit of alizarin crimson and ultramarine in the mix for the shaded parts. I've let that dry, and then I've wetted the balloon and put some stronger tones in there, and I put some pinkiness just here, and I've maintained that reflection in the balloon here. Stronger tones here and on the end of the balloon. I put some masking fluid for highlights on the eye and for the button and the motif. Let that dry, and then wetted the t-shirt and put some it's cobalt blue I've used for the tones on the t-shirt. I've used alizarin crimson for the lips, and the eye is ultramarine blue, but I put a weak mix of Ariel in on the centre and to wet it, and then drop in the ultramarine blue around the outside and just let it bleed into the centre, and you get this lovely graded quality to the eye, and then just strengthen that on the outside again with ultramarine blue. And for the centre part, that's just a dark mix ultramarine blue with burnt sienna and alizarin crimson. Just make a dark mixture, but that's done when the other part of the eye is dry. You don't want that you don't want to put that on too soon, or else that'll bleed outwards. You don't want that. Strengthened up the tones in the blue. Strengthened up the tones on the face and round the chin, down the side of the face, round the eye, and the nose and the nostrils. Again, more washes on the t-shirt. This is the completed painting, and I've put a pinkier skin tone mix for the eyelid, which is alizarin crimson and raw sienna. There's a little crease in the eyelid with a little bit of a darker mix. The eyelashes, they're done with burnt umber and ultramarine blue, and the eyebrows, they're done with just very lightly done with burnt umber. No, not much detail there because you can't paint every hair that's there. Finished off the hair, and it's very, very simply done. It's with burnt umber and burnt sienna with little bits of ultramarine blue added to the mix in just varying quantities. Very simply done. And on the other side here, you can just see the ear on this part here, and you can just see the ear peeking through the hair here. But darker tones again on the balloon, very neat and strong ultramarine blue, and graded it off so you get the roundness of the balloon. The end of the balloon, I've just put the very dark wash, painted on a darker mix of ultramarine blue, and here and here, and the stick, the balloon stick. I put a shaded part down here of the face, just by adding a little bit of ultramarine blue, and there's some shading down in the neckline and here. Put in the creases of the t-shirt. This is cobalt blue, and the motif, rubbed off the masking fluid here and on the motif and on the eye where the highlights are. And these darker, that's just ultramarine blue, just to do the stitching around the button and the holes and the little bit of the motif. And that's the finished painting, and I'm quite pleased. So I think it's quite a nice composition. So once again, I'm not an artist, I'm just following a hobby and really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot, and I hope you've learnt something, and just leaves me to say thank you for watching. Until the next time.